at 10 o'clock. Northampton won very easily, 44-8, I think was the score over Stroudsburg. Nazareth had a tough match with Easton, 29-21. Does a tough match now cause you some problems coming into tonight?
I don't think there's any physical problems. There may be a mental letdown after a big win over Easton today. Very tight right up until the last three weight classes. So it may be a mental letdown, but I think Nazareth is a good enough team. They can just pick it up right where they left off.
All right, let's go back and look at Thursday night. Nazareth has a very tough match against Catasauqua, one in which they have to win in order to win the Colonial League. They go out and do it, and it certainly seemed to have had an effect on the Catasauqua Rough Riders. In Double-A action today, Catasauqua was beaten by Pine Grove 33-19. Wilson went out and upset Tri-Valley by a 31-27 score. Now, to point out what an upset that is, Tri-Valley beat Pine Grove in the dual meet season, and Wilson got killed by Catasauqua. No rhyme or reason to that. My point to all of this, does that have any effect on Nazareth? They've had two tough matches in a row.
I think on a lesser team it might. The Catasauqua match, then the Easton match, now coming back for a big match. But Nazareth knew they were going to wrestle two here today. I think they were mentally prepared coming in to wrestle two. I think they were mentally prepared to wrestle Easton and then Northampton. So I think they have the big picture in their minds. And I'll tell you, there'll be a lot of Nazareth fans here making sure they don't let down.
So the outside effects don't seem to be any problem as far as Scott is concerned, which means the individual matchups are going to be the problem. So let's take a look at them. Our first three bouts of the night, 103, Ben Fry against Mike Tomczyk. This looks like an interesting bout.
It really does. Ben Fry has been unpredictable, if nothing else. Mike Tomczyk has been tough and nothing else. Mike Tomczyk, easy. First period pin today, 18 seconds into his match today. So maybe broke a sweat during his warm-up. Favorite Tomczyk here tonight.
112 pounds, Danny Tajner, the sensational freshman for the Blue Eagles, against Chad Billy, the sensational everything for Northampton.
Yeah, you got to pick Billy, who was rated third in the state here. Beat Tajner, major decision earlier this year. Danny Tajner suffered a tough defeat today and frankly looked flat doing it, so take Billy here.
Danny's had some problems with weight all year long, and that may very well be one of the reasons why he was a little flat.
Yeah, only in wrestling would we call growth a problem, but that's exactly where he is. He's just a freshman. He's still growing, and he's had to make major sacrifices for the team to get down to 112. I think it's taking its toll right now.
119, Chad Feichtel, the junior, against Joe Rubin, also a junior. Another good matchup.
It really is. Feichtel had a tough match here today, also against Timmy Reel from East. In fact, was behind a couple of times. I'm taking Rubin here. Rubin looked real good. You can't judge it against the competition. Rubin has looked good all year, so has Feichtel. This is a toss-up match. I think Northampton will win it.
We move to the next couple of weights. 125. Ryan Nonemaker, boy, he's been outstanding, 24-0 on the year for the Blue Eagles. John Eppinger, the senior, comes in. He's also had himself a good year, but Ryan Nonemaker even makes the really good wrestlers look bad.
He really does. He's so tough. He's ranked second in the state by the Keystone News. Had 10 takedowns against Tyler Purda, who only had one loss. That lost to Ryan Nonemaker earlier this year. Take Nonemaker, especially if it's close going into the third period.
130 pounds, Todd Colino, a senior, against Steve Moyer. Colino of Nazareth, of course. Moyer looks to be maybe a slight favorite here.
He really does. If you're going to pick a draw, you take Colino because he wrestles these matches close. I don't think it'll be more than a two-point decision either way. This afternoon, Colino had a 2-0 win. So he wrestles that kind of match. In talking to the officials, Todd Colino uses a style that can be called for stalling. If it is called for stalling, it will throw Colino completely off his game, and Moyer will win.
Let's look at bouts 6, 7, and 8. At 135 pounds, Steve Hersick of Nazareth against Steve Gogler, only a sophomore. Hersick a junior with a lot of experience, but Gogler certainly having a good year.
He really is, and Hersick has shown the ability to get beaten. He looked very tough today, really going wild with a cradle today against Craig Jones, who pinned him earlier this year. So, yeah, Hersick looks like the winner here.
140 pounds, we think that Nazareth is going to send Ken Hawes out there, the senior, 11-9-1, but Hawes did injure his shoulder this morning, and he'll go up against Tim Everett, the sophomore, 27-0. Keith Meitcher may have to come off the bench here for the Blue Eagles.
And if he does, you have Everett figured to win here. Everett's got a front headlock series that the referees, again, are coming into play, have been watching as maybe an illegal one. So we'll have to look out for that tonight. But Everett definitely with the favorite here.
145-pound Sean McAlone of Nazareth appears to be favored against the senior Steve Yost of Northampton.
Yeah, McAlone, the district runner-up, lost today, but he'll win tonight.
We'll look at the next couple of weight classes, or the next three, as a matter of fact. 152, 160. Matt Sillimperi, we believe, may not go today. We think it's going to be Adam Colombo, the sophomore, against Ben Kern.
Yeah, Colombo went today and got caught by Eric Thompson. I think it's in Ray Nonemaker's nature to let Colombo redeem himself, even if he is just a toss-up bout with Sillimperi. I think we'll let Colombo go tonight. Either way, I think Kern will win.
we're not exactly sure what's going to happen in 160 pounds. We believe that Darren Wenrich, the senior, is going to go up against Andy Doster, the senior. By records, this is a pretty tight bout, but Andy Doster has to be favored.
Yeah, he really does. He's an animal. But the thing to remember is if Ray needs 12 points to put the match out of reach, he's got him. He'll put Wenrich up one weight, put Dan Matson at 89 and get 12 points. So if it comes down to the last four with Nazareth ahead, Nazareth wins.
Let's look at our last three weight classes, and again, these are tentative because this is where games will be played, if they're going to be played at all day long. We are showing Mark Matson, the sophomore, going up against Bill Wambold, the junior from Northampton. And again, I'm not sure who has the slight edge here.
You got to figure Mark Madsen for the win. Looked tough here again today and has all year. He's caught a lot of real horses up there. But again, if Nazareth only needs 12 points, they'll move Mark Madsen down to 160 to go ahead against Doster. Probably get beaten by Doster, but it will be a key move. I take Madsen over Wampold here.
And then, of course, Dan Matson, the big senior, 17-1-1 on the year against Jesse Cucker, the junior, 16-10-0. But they may need 6 at this point out of Dan Matson.
And they should get it. Danny Matson, Nazareth's all-time leading pinner. You can't count on him for 6. You can't count on anybody. And it may just come down to Dan Matson. If Nazareth is to win, Danny Matson needs a pin.
At heavyweight, Nazareth has gone with a couple of kids all year, either Paul Wickman, who we are showing here, or Jim Lutz, the senior. Both of them are seniors, and Jason Grimm, the sophomore, but an outstanding sophomore.
He really is, and maybe the class of the East Penn Conference the sophomores, and certainly of the heavyweights. He's been beaten at heavyweight in the East Penn Conference, but it's we've said all year, a weak division. Jason Grimm, very well built, and in fact registered a fall against Nazareth earlier this year to salt the match away, and where Northampton won by 4. Got to take Grimm again.
You just mentioned it was a 30-26 score in the dual meet. Are there any factors that are going to come into play here today that were not into play that night?
If anything, it's the fact that Nazareth has wrestled tough all week. I mean, that's what you'll hear from everyone, and the fact that Northampton had a 44-8 debacle over Stroudsburg, a team that a lot of people say shouldn't even have been here. It should have been Northampton against Parkland. I don't think personally that will come into play. I think every bit what happened during the season is happening here today. The physical, the mental, everything. The teams are where they want to be. This will be a better matchup physically than it was earlier in the year.
And the thing about Northampton is they've come in the underdog in about 3 big matches this year, and they've walked away with victory in every one of them. This is just a super Northampton team.
They really are, and they didn't start out the season that way. They were very good average at best, but now they're ranked 3rd in the state and deserve every bit of that. Their only loss to Shikellamy, the second-ranked team in the state by the closest of margins, just beat Methacton, who is ranked in the top 10 in the state, have also beaten Nazareth, who is ranked 10th in the state. So, yeah, Northampton, a darn good team this year.
Everybody around the gymnasium is saying this is going to be a war tonight. It's Northampton against Nazareth. They both want the gold. We'll see who gets it around their neck right after we take time out for this message.
Can put cash back in your pocket. Call us now, 1-800-LOAN-YES. The Money Store, where America goes for money.
I remember my mom going to Walter's Pharmacy. Now I go. Walter's fills my prescription needs quickly, and I pay my Bell of PA and UGI bills. When I can't get away, Walter's comes to me with free delivery. Walter's Pharmacy, making life easier through genuine care since 1937. Walter's Pharmacy, 401 North 17th Street in the Allentown Medical Center.
When I first tried drugs, it seemed kind of fun, but after a while I knew I was losing control, so I quit. I've tried quitting 3 times since then. In only 2 years, I've lost everything I ever cared about. My life is a mess. I need control again.
Call your friends at the Central Assembly of God, 1300 Eaton Avenue in Bethlehem, 865-0577.
All right, welcome back to Liberty Memorial Gymnasium. Gary Laubach and Scott Barr are here as the wrestlers are being and have been now introduced. Northampton, as we said, 21-1-0 on the year. Their head coach is Don Roan. He's assisted by Matt Billy, Scott Moisey, and John Davis. The Nazareth High School team, as we look at referee Gene Wass on the left and Frank Jordan on the right, as they will be alternating bouts tonight. Nazareth, their record is 16-2 on the year. Their head coach, Ray Nunemaker. He's assisted by Rusty Amato Jr., Jody Weaver, Kevin Brown, Chuck Matson. As always, Scott, sometimes this is as important as any bout that occurs, and that's the toss of the coin.
Yeah, it really has been this year. We've seen it a few times. It comes up green, so it is Nazareth's choice.
And they got it. And they took the odd bouts, I believe.
What that means is that Nazareth will have choice in the odd bouts, but they must also send out their wrestler first in the odd bouts. They get a couple of high fives for winning the coin toss over there, so you know Nazareth thinks it's important.
I think Ray Nunemaker implied to us that it was very, very important. We'll move right now to 103 pounds. We believe that Nazareth is going to send out Ben Fry, a junior. They do. He is 6-3 on the year, and he will take on Mike Tomczyk, a sophomore, 21-4-1 on the year. The referee will be Frank Jordan. The mat judge standing there at the bottom of the screen is Gene Wass. And here to call the hold by hold is our wrestling expert, and that's Scott Farr.
Frank and Gene both doing matches this afternoon, or this morning, actually. Frank had the Stroudsburg-Northampton match. Gene had Easton Nazareth, one that was exciting all the way through, and by all accounts did an outstanding job. Frank, on the other hand, has had, by all accounts, a very, very tough year. It seems like whenever Frank is involved in some controversy, it's in the paper. But there's a call he didn't miss. Ben Fry trying to get the jump on it, gets his first caution of the match.
I guess the one thing referees want is that no one ever notices them.
And Frank has been noticed. He's had, in fact, Parkland a couple of times, and they have a tough team, and some people say they should be here. Ben Fry has been in a couple of times. Tomczyk tries to lock up the cement job as he's trying to sit through with it and toss Fry over the top. Fry doing the right thing, keeps his hips low. Looks like Tomczyk is across the throat on the front headlock there. He'll get the takedown.
As soon as he gets his head out of there, he'll have it. 1 minute and 8 seconds to go in the first period. Good crowd here on hand. This is the second annual District 11 Team Championship. There is the takedown for Fry.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to pop his head out. As now he has the headlock and he's getting back points on Tomczyk.
Boy, he has that tight.
And he's only got it with one arm, and Tomczyk basically is doing it to himself, as there are 3 back points and 1 point escape for Tomczyk. So Fry leads 5-1 in a crazy exchange.
Looked like he really had that headlock clamped on, and all of a sudden he had to give it up.
The problem was Tomczyk was trying to work out to the side and kind of put himself in trouble and then got stuck there. There's a takedown, new rule in effect. Mike Tomczyk with the takedown with the toes inbounds.
Makes the score 5-3, 17 seconds to go, first period of action. Nazareth, they were the team champions last year. In fact, they were the champions of just about everything last year. And Northampton, they're trying to match the Blue Eagle record of last year. They're rolling through just about everybody.
In fact, they have more wins this year than Nazareth did last year, as Fry gets a late point here in the period. Gets the escape with 10 seconds to go, and they'll finish the period with Fry leading 6-3.
And there is the horn. Fry does lead by a 6-3 score. Nazareth, of course, in the odd bouts has choice. Ben Fry defers that choice. And taking the down or defensive position is Mike Tomczyk.
I've got Northampton favored in this. I've said that in the pregame, but only by 1 bout. So if they manage to turn around, or if Nazareth manages to turn around one of the victories that Northampton expects, that goes all the way they need it to go to take over the win in this match. And Ben Fry doing his part here as he's got the lead after 1 period. In fact, has doubled Tomczyk's score in 1 period.
And if you're interested in how things occurred at 103 during the dual meet, Tomczyk got a fall over Sean Topping in 1 minute and 59 seconds. So you could be looking at a 9-point turnaround here, Scott, from the previous dual meet.
Yeah, at this time, yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at. But remember, that was Sean Topping and not Ben Fry. Ben Fry went against, I believe, Torrey Bergio. Or not Torrey Bergio, went against, I guess he didn't even
Ben
wrestle.
Fry did not wrestle in that one, no. There you get a look at Don Roan. And I think we had a look at Ray Nunemaker, because I wasn't always looking at the monitor. And there's John Davis whispering some valuable, I'm sure, information, because he always gives us valuable information. There's Ray Nunemaker, only 28 years at Nazareth. Talking to Frank Jordan.
That looks like a discussion of a call right there. Ray was presenting his viewpoint and asking, well, why not? And Frank was defending it. So I think Ray had a question on that takedown on the edge of the mat.
Scores this morning: Northampton beat Stroudsburg 44-8, as expected. Nazareth and Easton, that was the way Easton's been wrestling lately. That was judged to be almost a toss-up. Blue Eagles won it by a 29-21 score, and sort of had things all wrapped up by about 135 pounds. There had to be some major changes of prediction for the Easton to win after that.
You know, a lot of people, I was here this morning, a lot of people came up to me and said, does Stroudsburg deserve to be in this? My answer was yes, they do deserve to be in it, but my answer was also, so do a few other teams. I think they have to expand the field. If you are going to qualify undefeated league champions, I think you have to qualify more teams. There is the theoretical possibility that Northampton might be the only team from the area, and if Hazleton, Pottsville, and East Stroudsburg, or Stroudsburg all go undefeated, that bumps all but one team out. In fact, when you look at it that way, we only have one at-large entry, and that is Easton is the only team with any league losses here. Ben's trying the back hook as he'll get one count. There's 1, 2. As he's getting back points here, Ben Fry working hard to pull off this upset.
Ben Fry has looked very tough since the opening whistle. And he continues to get the count from Frank Jordan.
Now he picks up the 3. He picked up a series of 2 or 3 counts, 2 or 3 different times, but now he's got that back hook locked up, and he can just sit there for the last 19 seconds of the period, and Mike Tomczyk is going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to pull this one off.
Tomczyk's going to trail by a 9-3 score, it appears, at the end of this period. And now he'll get the points. There they are, the 3 back points as the horn is going to blow. And Ben Fry is going to lead by a 9-3 score.
Ben Fry's choice is going to be top. It's normally an unusual choice, but he has dominated from there. Mike Tomczyk isn't wrestling like himself. It makes me wonder if maybe he is suffering a little bit from a cold or something, or just Ben Fry has just come out and put it to him.
Scott, I hate to ask questions sometimes, and when I'm not sure if you know the answer, but we know that Sean Topping's been in there most of the season. Is it because Fry did not make this weight, or that Topping was beating him in the wrestling room?
I've heard that Ben Fry had trouble getting down to 103 pounds. He was there all year last year and has been battling with Danny Tashner at 112 this year. But yeah, he finally made it down to 103 pounds, is really making a contribution. I guess if you have to go up against Dan Tashner all year long in the wrestling room, it is a pretty good indication that maybe you should drop some weight. Tashner, the sensational freshman, you'll get a look at him in the next bout, but he's going to go up against a very tough customer in Chad Billy. Minute and 25 seconds to go now. The match score 9-3 in favor of Nazareth's Ben Fry, and he has just dominated.
Work it, work it!
Scott, even 2 near fall points here could be critical for the Blue Eagles, picking up a major.
That's true. They expected, a lot of the experts expected Ben Fry to lose here, and he's just 1 move away from a major decision. And Mike Tomczyk working toward the out of bounds.
That's exactly where they end up, out of bounds. Frank Jordan blows the whistle. The injury time will start on Ben Fry again. Fry at the moment in no danger, of course, of forfeiting or defaulting this match, as he just simply moves to the sideline. Again, a reminder of what happened in Double-A action, because that's really been the talk of the gymnasium. Catasauqua lost the Pine Grove by a 33-19 score, and Caddy was never in it. They were way behind from the beginning. Wilson, after forfeiting 3 bouts, giving up 18 points to Tri-Valley, won by a 31-27 score, and they needed a win at heavyweight, as it was 28-27 going into heavyweight, and Kevin Murphy came through. I believe Murph won with an 8-4 score. And that's what gave the Warriors their victory. So it'll be Wilson against Pine Grove for the AA championship, which is going to be held here at Liberty at 8 o'clock as you're watching this on TV. This was held at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Ready to wrestle. 9-3 lead by Ben Fry over Mike Tomczyk. 52 seconds to wrestle.
Tomczyk comes out the front, a good stand-up. That's what he had to hit, a good explosive first move. He did hit it. Now Ben Fry just hanging on to one leg. Tomczyk's got to look for the cement job. There's a stall call against Ben Fry.
Did he give the escape? Never did.
No escape.
Okay.
But he was just laying there hanging on to the leg, and a stalling call awarded by Frank Jordan. Frank is the rules interpreter for the Lehigh Valley chapter of wrestling officials. So when you have a question about what a rule is, he's the guy you ask. Ben Fry with a banana split.
2 near fall points awarded to Fry, and Fry now up by an 11-3 score, and that could be critical. That would mean 4 team points for the major decision. And now it's Tomczyk who appears to be shaken up.
The reason those points awarded, no counts given by Frank Jordan, but back points were imminent in the opinion of Frank Jordan. So when a wrestler asks for injury time and back points are imminent, 2 back points are awarded. That's exactly what happened there.
Scott, let's talk not only about the injuries, you're going to get another look at it, but let's talk a little bit about how you get injury time as a wrestler.
All that happened here, Mike Tomczyk just simply looked at Frank Jordan and said, "I'm hurt," or he screamed or something. I guess Frank leans over right there. Right there, he asked for injury time. We had a good angle on it with our cameras.
Is that a legal hold there?
That was completely legal. That's the banana split. You call it in the wrestling room. I'm not sure what the official designation of that move is. But Ben Fry is going to pick up a big, big win for the Blue Eagles.
Now, Fry has to be very careful that he doesn't give up an escape here. 11 seconds. I'm sure that's what Don Rohn was talking to Mike Tomczyk about. We need an escape. We need 1 point. Final 10 seconds.
He might get it right here. If he comes out the front, he turned the wrong way. 2 seconds, 1 second. He won't get it.
He does not get the escape, Tomczyk. And the match score, Ben Fry wins it with a major decision by an 11-3 score. And the Blue Eagles go up at the end of 1 wait by a 4-0 score. We will move to 112 pounds. For Nazareth, Dan Tajner, a freshman, 16, 3-2 on the year, against Chad Billy, a senior, 25, 1-0. One of those losses by Tajner was to Chad Billy by a 13-6 score.
Tajner had a rough time of it today against Torrey Bergio.
He lost that one, I believe, didn't he? 3-2?
He did lose that one. I think it was 3-2.
Yeah.
In fact, I have the final here. Yeah, he was taken down, in fact, with just seconds to go. Bergio racking up an escape and a takedown in the final period to win that. Tajner with a takedown in the first period.
Will Tajner, Bergio, and Billy all be at this weight class in the districts?
You'd have to figure that. I don't see any of them dropping another weight at least. But reports have been that several, in fact, 2 out of the 3 have had trouble getting down to 112 with any consistency. I know Torrey Bergio grows to about 118 or 19 during the week. And I know Danny Tajner has been in the plus 120 range. So if they make weight, they'll all be here, and that'll be the toughest weight in the tournament.
I was going to say, this is one of those weights where it's prime for an upset. There's Billy with a takedown, but somebody's going to have to knock this kid off the top of the hill.
I can't imagine him being ranked only 3rd in the state. I don't know who would be ahead of him.
Gene Wass, the referee for this bout.
He turns him over. He's got the arm bar and wrist. There's the pin.
Boy, that didn't take long at all. 1 minute and 15 seconds as Chad Billy appears to have just gotten back for Northampton what Ben Fry got for the Blue Eagles. And just like that, Northampton goes up by a 6-4 score. Scott, you've got it.
Classic wrestling hold, arm bar and wrist. Boy, it didn't even look close. All of a sudden, he spins around with the arm bar. Just drives it just like he's supposed to. You see him jump to the other side.
Boy, this pin comes so quickly.
It really does, and he was flat. There it is, cranks it over, blocks the head. Right there it is. You saw the shoulder come down.
We move to 119 pounds for Nazareth. Chad Feichtel, a junior, 25-0 on the year against Joe Rubin of Northampton. He is a junior, 21-4-1.
And that really does help Northampton gain back what they lost at 103, but not entirely, as it was a 7-point swing at 103. And while the fall helps, it really can only be considered to be at most a 3-point differential for Northampton. So they're still -4 if you're keeping score at home.
Northampton in the dual meet was up 9-0 after 2 weight classes. They now are up by a 6-4 score. Off the mat they go. Back to the center, 1 minute and 19 seconds, first period. We're in the 119-pound matchup, the third of the day. Feichtel of Nazareth against Rubin of Northampton.
Rubin in deep, has the double leg, goes head wheel to the mat. He'll take the 2.
Northampton roared to an 18-0 start against Stroudsburg this morning with these first 3 weights.
Escape given to Feichtel, takedown taken by Rubin, escape given again to Feichtel. It's now 4-2, Rubin leads.
This was a very competitive bout during the duel, Scott, as Feichtel won.
He'll get the takedown here, and 1 count on the back points, but that's all.
Feichtel won by an 11-8 score in the duels.
I have Rubin favored here tonight. He has looked tough. And Feichtel really had to go of it this afternoon against Timmy Reel. Timmy, in fact, got the opening takedown and led 2-1, 2-0, 2-1, and 4-3 at points before he ended up losing 6-4 in a pivotal match in that dual meet.
Feichtel jumped out to a 9-3 lead the last time these 2 teams wrestled against Rubin, and then had to hold on to get an 11-8 decision.
Rubin's out to avenge that one. It's obvious as he gets the cradle and tries to roll through it. Almost sticks himself. And he'll give up the escape. Aggressive move by Joe Rubin.
Boy, how strong did he look on that move?
He had to come all the way through that, and if his shoulders would have been flat, it would have been called. He was there long enough.
At the end of a very exciting first period, Rubin leads Feichtel by a 6-3 score. Feichtel has choice. He'll defer. Rubin will take the down position.
Joe Rubin, one of those guys you're glad is back next year. Just a real solid performance. Not a blue chipper right now, but he may well be that next year as he gets the escape here. Hard worker, good technician, and just really has put together an outstanding season. You're glad he's back so that he'll get some experience in the postseason this year and then hopefully really star in it next year.
Should Rubin win here, Scott, it would certainly put Northampton right back to kind of where they were in the dual meet. It was 9-3 at the end of 3 weights in the dual meet, and it would be 9-4 if he gets a decision here, but Feichel's not going to go down without a fight.
There's the headlock. This will be a 5-point play. That's exactly what he hit earlier in the year. Was a 5-pointer. He gets him here again, and he'll lead after this move is over.
There it is. 3 near fall points. Makes the score now 8-7 in favor of Feichel.
Feichel had a takedown near fall just like that in the dual meet for 5 points in the second period. Rubin came back to finish with a few takedowns.
Feichel takes a glance up at the clock, and now he's in trouble.
Rubin will get at least the escape.
And it looks like they gave the reversal.
It is the reversal awarded.
Now the escape by Feichel. So it's tied at 9. We're at 9-9. And that woke the crowd up. They have started to officiate.
That was one of those calls on the edge, but Rubin was working the cradle there. I can see the call by Frank Jordan being a reversal. It's a call you have to make at that time. So, yeah, you have to give it to him, and if it didn't work out that way, it would order the other way. Rubin with the escape.
Boy, Feichel had the shrug move there and just went a little bit too far over. At the end of 2 periods, 9-9 in a critical matchup at 119 pounds. Feichel will start on the bottom. And injury time now for Rubin, yes. Of course, whenever we have an injury, we think about the Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic. And I'm sure we're going to show you on our screen exactly where they are located. 1732 Street in Allentown. Their number 439-1788. They have the team approach to the athletic injury. All you have to do is give them a call. You got an ache or a problem, something you want diagnosed, just call the Allentown Sports Medicine Clinic. The number again, 439-1788, 1732 Street in Allentown. Good look at our crowd. Scott, I would think the district has to be pretty pleased with the crowd here today.
Compared to last year, absolutely. But what boggles me is, if this were the dual meet this year, we'd have filled this place. Here we are battling for the district championship, and I don't think we're half full here. Maybe that's a function of the time of day we're wrestling. Maybe it's just that the team district hasn't caught on yet.
You certainly will see a full house here for the individual championships as you get a look at the other side. But that involves so many schools. That's just 2 weeks away. And we'll have that live for you 2 weeks from today, live. I think we'll be on the air somewhere around 7:30.
I think we had injury time now running against Chad Feichel, as Joe Rubin was all done, and both referees then went over to Ray Nunemaker. So I think we had injury time by both wrestlers.
Well, they both have regrouped. They both realize they've got 2 minutes to wrestle, and they both realize that at the moment they have a dead heat at 9-9. So these two guys are capable of scoring on one another. They've already scored 37 points in their 2 bouts. There's the escape by Feichel. Feichel leads 10-9.
Rubin, I believe, with a tech ball. Nice duck under by Feichel. Missed as he was back there, and well defensed by Joe Rubin, as Rubin allowed the escape to open the period. Now looking for the cement job.
Now he's in trouble, and they both get out of it. Good defense by both wrestlers.
Really is. Good balance on both wrestlers' parts. As it looked like a cement job by Joe Rubin, almost converted. He collapsed his hip instead of keeping his hips in the air.
As the Northampton fans start their Let's Go Joe, as the headgear comes off of Joe Rubin, they'll go back to the center. Score 10-9, Feichel. Another well-run tournament by the District 11 committee. Everything moving right along on time. John Maitland, the retired athletic director at Easton, is the tournament director. Nobody runs a wrestling tournament better than John. Ken Nickershear, Mike Meilinger helping him out. We thank Dominic Villani, who was in charge of the site. And, of course, Joe Craig, who always helps us.
Another shrug attempted by Feichel. Instead, Rubin moves in now for the bear hug. Has it locked, but they'll go out of bounds.
It looks like a bus just came in. A lot of fans piling in right now.
Evidently had the wrong starting time. Still 25 seconds to go. Joe Rubin has to look for a takedown. He's not working very hard for it. They're stalling on both wrestlers. Good call.
Each wrestler trying to be very cautious because they're a move away from falling behind. Although at the moment, Rubin is already behind by a 10-9 score. Final 5 seconds. Nazareth's going to win it. Chad Feichel will beat Joe Rubin by a 10-9 score. The Blue Eagles of Nazareth go up by a 7-6 score. Well, I'm sure Ray Nunemaker had a huge sigh of relief when that buzzer went off. We move to 125 pounds. For Nazareth, Ryan Nunemaker, a junior, 24-0, against John Eppinger of Northampton, a senior, 17-7-1.
Ray knows it coming in. He could have been down 12 zip at this point. Instead, he's up 7-6, so he's got to be feeling really good. His strengths are yet to come. In fact, the only guy he can normally count on, he put on the mat. Well, I guess he can count on Chad Feitzel pretty heavily normally. The guy everyone's talking about, Danny Kastner, didn't produce here tonight. Of course, he ran into Chad Billy, who got the fall in a minute 15. But Ray has to be feeling real good right now.
We do have the Easton Peaburg match following tonight. Another look at that is the takedown by Nunemaker if you're watching on Saturday night. Nunemaker beat Eppinger, but it was not easy. It was a 7-2 score as the bout was tied at 0 at the end of 2 periods. This bout will be replayed on Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Next Sunday at 9 o'clock. 1 week from tomorrow.
Ryan Nunemaker out of his game plan here. Normally he'll take a guy down and let him up, and he's not doing that against Eppinger. And he has shown the ability to take Eppinger down, as he did it twice in their first meeting. Eppinger had no takedowns, and he already has taken him down here once tonight.
We will have elementary wrestling championships, Valley Youth, tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Scott Barr and Gene Wass. Tomorrow night you'll have the advantage of having 2 people that know something about wrestling. Scott, what's the advantage, or is there much of an advantage to wrestling somebody you've wrestled before?
I think if you're the better wrestler, it's a disadvantage because the guy catches on to what you do. All good wrestlers have 1 or 2 moves that they hit time and time and time and time again. Ryan Nunemaker, a good enough technician that he can make it work time and time and time again. But eventually, the 2 guys will just get closer and closer and closer together. So if you're the better wrestler, you don't like to do it.
Who's going to challenge Ryan in districts at 125?
I think you got to pencil him in. I really do. He's just shown too much this year. Maybe if you pick one guy on this Nazareth team, he is maybe the most technically perfect wrestler they have.
Nunemaker leads at the end of 1 period by a 2-0 score. Eppinger has the choice. Eppinger deferred, and Nunemaker will take the down position.
In addition, Ryan, if he goes into the 3rd period close to anybody, he'll beat you. His conditioning has just been super.
Quick stand-up handled by Eppinger nicely. Tried to switch, and that was handled.
Caution against Nunemaker, false start. Like Ryan took off before he was ever even on top of him.
Although there was no caution given.
No caution given?
No. There's the escape by Nunemaker. He leads 3-0.
We'll see if Nunemaker's able to take him down here if he goes ahead and lets him up, because he has dominated everybody on his feet.
Stalling call against Eppinger. Just a warning, no point.
Eppinger warned 3 times in the dual meet. 2 of them for points, obviously. Nunemaker today, believe it or not, had 10 takedowns.
And against the good wrestler, Tyler Purdy.
Yeah, Tyler Purdy, who has had an outstanding year. And in fact, that may be only topped by his performance earlier against Tyler Purdy, where he had 8 takedowns in the last period. Tyler wants to go with Ryan. He's got to do 5 miles more a day, because it looks like he's tiring out that 3rd period. And who wouldn't against Ryan Nunemaker?
Minute and 15, 2nd period. 125 pounds. Ryan Nunemaker leads by a 3-0 score.
Nunemaker also with another year left, if you can believe that.
And we have not forgotten about the clock in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. What we did not anticipate was the sun shining right on that clock, and at the moment, a shot of that clock would show you nothing but a bright glare. So we'll have it for you as soon as the sun moves a little bit. 55 seconds to go now, second period. And again, the Nazareth people now looking for another stalling call.
You got to allow a wrestler to defend himself. He has to be able to sprawl when a guy shoots in. So I can see why Gene Watts isn't calling it there. If you do that consistently, that's a different story. That was the first shot Nunamaker had taken since the warning. And now there's a sprawl and a shot. So Eppinger doing his best to get something going here.
I would think Don Rohn at the moment would be pretty pleased with John Eppinger's effort here so far.
He certainly is close enough, and you never know with these Northampton guys. They hit that cement job, and there's 5 points at least.
Stalemate call, 3-0. Final 10 seconds. Scott, who won? Well, obviously Purdy must have beaten Eppinger. It's funny how some wrestlers are so dominating over others.
If you could put it all down on paper and it would work out, this job would be easy, but you really can't do that.
3-0, Nunamaker leads. I mean, and Ryan has certainly not dominated Eppinger in the 2 times they've met. It's now 3-1 as the escape allowed. Of course, this is where Nunamaker shines in the 3rd period.
It's hard to figure out what goes on in a wrestler's mind and why he just can't dominate a guy like he dominates everyone else. And it happens, and every guy has his guy that he can't do that to. And it looks to me that this is Ryan Nunamaker's stalling on both.
Stalling for both. That'll be a point awarded to Nunamaker. So Nunamaker leads 4-1.
There's Eppinger in on the leg. Nunamaker really, if there's one thing he does very well also, besides his technique, it is his defense. And Eppinger came down head first on the mat, and it looked like...
I think he caught Nunamaker's knee.
I thought he hit the mat at a crazy little angle there, and that might have been the case, too.
Well, we'll probably get a replay of this and take another look and see exactly how this injury occurred.
That mat is about 1.5 inches thick of densified foam, and while it cushions the hit, it really doesn't blunt it totally. And you'll see he'll come down, I think, right head first, right here. Right on the mat, yeah. Kind of jarred himself.
Tough way to land, it was, but he's right back into the middle of the mat.
Minor concussion at best.
You know it's a big event when Bill McCoach is on the PA. Bill's over there working hard.
And you know, he'll be here for individual districts in 2 weeks as well. And he has as much a reason as any, the PA announcer, that tournament runs smoothly. I've gone to other tournaments where the PA announcer really doesn't know what's going on, and wrestlers don't know what match to report to. Coaches are lost, and it lasts forever.
Nunamaker's in deep. He has the takedown. Nunamaker leads 6-1. So now he is close to a major decision inside of 1 minute, 55 seconds. To this point, the Blue Eagles have improved on their dual meet effort against Northampton.
Yeah, after this weight in the dual meet, they trailed 9-6. It looks like today they will be leading 10-6. So a tremendous improvement. And boy, won't that throw it up in the air who's the better team if the Blue Eagles do indeed pull off the victory here. Hard to call it an upset with as close as the dual meet was, with Nazareth being 16-2, Northampton at 21-1. 2 outstanding teams, obviously.
The major apprehension started on the Northampton side when Scott picked them to win. He's had a tough year here, and after tremendously successful years, this has probably been your toughest for prediction.
And you knew that coming in with all the new wrestlers and all the new faces. I was up around 85 or 90% on individual bouts for a few years. This year I'm down around 70 or 75. And, boy, that really leads to picking the wrong teams, although I was on a 2-match streak there with Caddy over Wilson and Easton over Peeberg. And this one's not over yet.
Oh, no, by no means. It's 6-1. And Ryan Nunemaker, 125, but there's 9 bouts to follow.
15 seconds.
Final 15 seconds.
I have had fans ask me, don't pick us, please.
Well, Nunemaker's going to win it. Ryan Nunemaker will win by a 6-1 score. The Blue Eagles are on top now by a 10-6 score. We move to 130 pounds. It'll be Todd Colino of Nazareth, a senior, 17-5-3 on the year, against Steve Moyer of Northampton, a senior, 21-6-0 on the year. These two did not meet in the dual meet. So this is a new matchup, as Colino had wrestled against Gogler in the dual meet.
Moyer has really finally come into his own after a couple of tough years wrestling stud after stud in Don Roan's lineup. He has really shown that what kind of wrestler he is. Colino will reach across for the spladle every chance he gets. And he won't get it here as the takedown is awarded to Moyer. He leads 2-0. Two things you can count on from Todd Colino, the spladle and the legs. When he's on top, he'll go legs, power half. When he's anywhere else, he'll go for the spladle.
Bob Garris called a spladle the other night in the Allen Whitehall games. Tremendous takedown at midcourt.
I guess that was the problem, is that it was hoops.
We have a lot of hoops for you next week. We've got 10 East Bend Conference basketball games for you, as we'll go right through the East Bend Conference Boys and Girls Championships. We'll start it off Monday night, as we will have Easton against, well, Easton will take on Deeriff. That'll be our second ball game. Allen Central will be our opening ball game. And we're coming on the air at what time? 9 o'clock. Okay. Every night with doubleheaders. Takedown by Nazareth's Todd Colino.
Colino took advantage of a missed headlock by Moyer. Moyer used the quarter Nelson lateral drop this afternoon for a 5-pointer. Couldn't count it against Colino. There are the legs thrown in by Colino. They'll go legs, half. He lifts that hand off the mat. It'll be potentially dangerous.
There it is. Stalemate is called.
Gene Wass and I were talking about that very hold at length, and it looks like it's legs and a pinning hold, but when it's used just to hang on, you're going to call stalling. I think you might see that tonight from Frank Jordan. Not discussing Colino per se, but he is certainly one of the wrestlers that uses that hold, and I can say that because I was another wrestler that used that hold. And believe me, I used it to stall.
Colino in trouble. There's the escape by Moyer. We're tied at 3. 30 seconds to go, first period. Whistle blows.
But when you lock in those legs, you have to use them as a pinning hold, as you would use anything from the top. And Colino does a good job of that. He'll throw in the power half, or he'll reach across for the arm. Basically, anything you do from the legs looks like it's trying to be a pinning hold. But it's very, very easy to use that hold as a ride.
In the dual meet, Colino and Gogler drew at 4-4, and Moyer beat Hersick 12-8. And now we're just going to reverse that, because Hersick and Gogler are going to go at it.
Takedown awarded by Frank Jordan. If there is the head anyway, so anybody that was upset with the takedown call, it took place on the edge of the mat, and Todd Colino did not give it up just because the call was there, and he looks hurt right now.
Close to some back points, but they will not be awarded. 5-3 is the score. Now Frank has managed to upset both sides of the gymnasium. 5-3 Moyer over Colino.
And, you know, when you're having a long year, every call looks like that last call. They're all on the edge. They're all with no time left. They're all maybe and maybe nots. And I'll bet you Frank thinks he's had about 1,000 of them this year.
Colino's in control, but he's in trouble. There's the reversal.
and it'll be a 5-point play at least. Moyer has Galino deep in the headlock. This could be a fall.
There it is. The fall comes at 2 minutes and 20 seconds as Northampton Steve Moyer cements Todd Galino. Northampton goes on top 12-10. We'll be right back.
Make Whitehall Auto Parts the most important stop for your car. We're a major supplier of foreign and domestic auto and light truck parts and have one of the largest inventories in the Lehigh Valley. We also provide machine shop services and are equipped for complete engine rebuilding. Whitehall Auto Parts stands behind their products. Make your next stop at Whitehall Auto Parts, 2741 MacArthur Road in Whitehall. We're open weekdays 8 to 8, Saturday 8 to 4, and Sunday 9 to 4. Or phone 437-4604.
The Bethlehem Restaurant and Diner, located on Catasauqua Road, is open 24 hours daily, except Sundays till 9 p.m. If dessert's on your mind, we've got some ice cream treats that can't be beat. Try your favorite milkshakes, ice cream sodas, and sundaes with all kinds of toppings and 12 delicious Hershey flavors. For a real change of pace, come in with your friends and gang up on the ultimate ice cream special, everything but the kitchen sink. Enjoy your favorite dessert at the Bethlehem Restaurant and Diner on Catasauqua Road.
All-Star Sporting Goods offers the area's finest selection of athletic supplies and equipment. We're known for being the #1 team equipment specialist and in providing you with only the best in custom uniforms, sporting goods supplies, athletic footwear, and custom high school jackets for any area high school. We feature the most complete line of baseball equipment and athletic medical supplies, plus expert screen printing provided on the premises. Don't settle for second best. Get your Booster Club businesses and Little Leagues into All-Star Sporting Goods at 1222 Main Street, Northampton.
Are you interested in your health, what you're eating, perhaps dining out at good restaurants? I'm Bill Cooper for To Your Health. We're on Tuesday evenings at 6:30 and Fridays at 7. We hope to see you then.
You're viewing Twin County Cable 4, your choice for community programming in the Lehigh Valley.
We are back. It's 135 pounds. Steve Hersick of Nazareth, a junior, 18-5-1, against Steve Gogler of Northampton, a sophomore, 11-3-1. Well, Northampton's only getting a win here or a win there, Scott, but they're making them 6-pointers.
Yeah, that's worth 2 Nazareth wins, because all Nazareth has gotten are regular decisions. Ben Fry with the bonus point in an upset at 103, and we will get another look at that nice headlock from the bottom. It was a move that Moyer tried to throw earlier in the bout and didn't manage to come out on top. Didn't get the escape from it, but that's the life you lead as a leg wrestler. Your head is exposed there, and if somebody grabs it and turns you, you're in trouble.
Hersick for the Blue Eagles, Gogler for Northampton. As we said, these two did not meet during the dual meet season. That fall came at 2 minutes and 20 seconds by Steve Moyer. And we have it racked up and ready to take a look at it the next chance we get. It was a very quick pin, Scott.
It really was, and that's what happens when you stick a guy hard, and Galino really was. He flopped one time to the other side, and Moyer strong enough to make it count. Galino, a strong youngster in his own right, but Moyer just really clamped it on.
Off the mat they go, and when the period ends, we'll look at the fall. 30 seconds to go. No score here at 135 pounds.
Club and spin tried by Hersick. Got the club part, missed the spin part as Gogler grabbed the leg.
In the dual meet, we had 5 pins. But we only had 1 up to 145 pounds. Still no score to end. No score. Hersick and Gogler. Let's take a look at Moyer Galino.
He'll just reach back, Steve Moyer will, and grab the head of Todd Galino, and you can see he's got the arm in there. He'll turn to his right side. That's just a headlock right there. A front headlock series applied And Colino will flop back to his left side one time right there, and there's the body press. You saw Todd Colino come off his back there, but that was after the fall took place. Frank Jordan right in on it.
Hersick on the bottom. Gogler on top. This is a key matchup for the Blue Eagles, one would think.
Yeah, this is another one of the toss-ups. You would have to say. I think the Blue Eagles would like to win it. If they lose it, it's not fatal here. I think Northampton, on the other hand, if they lose it, they're really down. You don't normally win. When you looking at this match, you didn't think it was going to be won by pins or non-pins. You thought somebody would upset somebody, and that would be the difference. And we may have already seen that bout in the Ben Fry, Mike Tomczyk effort. The extra 3 points here, 3 points there, pale in comparison. Although the 2 pins make up for the 1 win.
Gogler doing a good job trying to turn Hersick over. There's a warning for stalling against Hersick. Off the mat they go.
Hersick winner 8-7 in the dual meet over Moyer, we already mentioned.
One minute, second period. 1 minute.
Sorry, I think we had that backwards. Moyer the winner over Hersick.
There's the escape by Hersick. Hersick leads 1-0.
This is Gogler, not Hersick. Steve Gogler. Only 3 losses, but you wonder why he didn't wrestle all year. He's only got 15 matches under his belt. Everybody else well into the 20s.
In the duels, that is the way they matched up. Colino against Gogler and Hersick against Moyer. Now the Blue Eagle fans want a stall call against Gogler.
15 seconds. 15.
It's been a defensive battle. 1-0 is the score. Final 7 seconds, second period. Nothing happening out there. There's a shrug, takedown, right at the buzzer by Steve Hersick. So Hersick leads by a 3-0 score. So far, Scott, the things that have happened at the ends of the periods have favored the Blue Eagles.
And that's where you win matches. You win it on the edge of the mat, you win it at the end of the period. And that was right at the buzzer for Steve Hersick. When I looked at the clock, there was 1 second to go, and Steve Hersick was on top. So that really helps out. Steve Hersick from the top will look for a cradle of any variety, looking for the crossface cradle here. He'll go near cradle, he'll go crossface or front cradle. So he's got them all. Today tied Craig Jones up in a cradle, and when Craig Jones got up from that, he tied him up in another one. So he has used it even today.
Minute 40 seconds. Nazareth trails 12-10. We've wrestled 5 bouts.
Hersick won that match 11-8 in a match that probably wasn't that close. Craig Jones hit for stalling 3 times. So difficult for a wrestler to score on a wrestler that's been stalling that much.
Off the mat they go. Back to the center they will come. Crowd gets quiet. Gogler has not been able to do anything to this point. He has not come close to scoring against Hersick.
He's got the wrist lock there. He'll go and try and slide in a front arm bar or near arm bar. He's working that arm over pretty good, but Gogler manages to stand up out of it. Goes right back to the mat. Compliments of Steve Hersick. Now tries to half Nelson. Steve Hersick really working pinning holds, but
he's very active on top.
He's active, but not very effective. Now he's trying to pry the head under.
He looks up at the clock, sees he has 30 seconds to wrestle. Whistle blows. Stalemate called. 33 seconds exactly on the clock. 3-0. Hersick leads.
And Nazareth fans upset upset about that, but I really honestly think the alternative to that was to have Steve Hersig stalling. He was staying behind and not allowing Gogler to do anything. If you work out to the side and don't allow him to do anything, that's a different story. But he really was staying behind, just like he is now, hip to hip. Now this is out to the side. You see he exposes himself somewhat, can work for a pinning hold from there. There is a stalling call against Gogler, but that could have gone either way.
Not going to matter very much. This is going to end with a 3-0 score as Nazareth Steve Hersig beats Northampton Steve Gogler, and Nazareth now goes back up on top by a 13-12 score as we seesaw back and forth with the team scores. Nazareth winning their 4th matchup of the afternoon. Northampton has only won 2, but they've pinned in both. 140 pounds. Ken Hawes of Nazareth, a senior, 11-9-1 against Tim Everett of Northampton. Everett, a sophomore, 27-0. Hawes with a shoulder injury this afternoon, and it was not certain whether he would go and wrestle in the championship, but he's out there.
Yeah, he went down hard this afternoon, and did Hawes to Greg Geiger. Ended up losing that match 18-11, but did take some injury time off the clock, and it did appear that he had a rather serious shoulder problem as it was cranked over by Geiger in a completely legal move.
Hawes and Everett did go at it in the dual meet, and Everett won by a 9-6 score. Tied at 6-6 at the end of 2 periods, and then the 3rd period was all Everett.
Since then, Everett has gone 9-1. Hawes has gone just 4-5-1. And so if anybody's on a roll here, it's certainly Timmy Everett. There's a cement job, and over and under. If you got to look at the cement job in its early stages, that is it, and that's the front headlock.
All of that, but no points. 59 seconds, 1st period, no score.
What the coaches are looking for, the opposing coaches are looking for in that, if Timmy Everett touches the hand that is the overhand to any part of the arm that is the under part of the cement job, that's an illegal front headlock. And the officials really are looking for that, especially out of Timmy Everett. When that move is discussed, the name Tim Everett does come up in the discussion because he uses it very effectively. He rolls through, and oftentimes will put a wrestler on his back from that. But if he does touch hand to arm under there, it would be illegal.
30 seconds, warning for stalling against Nazareth. Ken Hawes. No points here in the 1st period. Hawes in deep. Very deep. He gets a takedown with 10 seconds on the clock. 1st period, Hawes leads 2-0.
Again, points late in the period. It didn't matter very much in the last bout as Hersig won the 3 points, by 3 points, and got the takedown at the end. But Steve Gogler might have had a little more incentive. There is a caution against Green, and I think that is Nazareth.
That is. So a stalling warning and a caution against Hawes.
They do not add up together. Next warning for stalling will be a point. Next caution will just be a caution.
Hawes leads 2-0 at the end of 1 period. The momentum here, if there is such a thing in wrestling, appears at the moment to be slowly moving in Nazareth's favor.
It really does. When you add up everything that has gone on, it all adds up to a Nazareth victory. But again, we always say there's an awful lot of wrestling to go. And I think you just said it best, Gary. I don't think there is such a thing as momentum at this stage in a wrestling match when you look at what is to come.
Escape by Everett, 2-1. Everett trails.
There's a finger or a head to the eye of Ken Hawes.
That brings Don Roan and John Davis out to talk to Tim Everett. And the Blue Eagles converge on Kenny Hawes.
In fact, you look at the Easton Nazareth match of this morning that went completely differently from this one, as Easton won the first 2. Nazareth took the next 4, Easton the following 3, Nazareth the next 3, and then Easton won at heavyweight, but the team never won without winning the next one, too. And we've had back and forth here as we've gone Nazareth, Northampton, Nazareth twice, then Northampton, then back to Nazareth. So they really have matched up very well here this afternoon.
Injury clock is going. And now the clock will stop. They'll bring them back to the center, and Ken Hawes, a takedown in the first period. Everett with an escape here in the second. 1:49 in the second to go. Everett trails 2-1. On the edge of the mat, the whistle blows. It's turned into a defensive wrestling match here the last couple of weeks.
I think wrestling in general has turned defensive, as there's been a lot of emphasis, and a good case in point is the spladle, a completely defensive move that has become popular, but a lot more defense being taught, I think.
Boy, Everett just defended against a 2-point takedown pretty well.
That's the same defense he used against the first takedown, and it didn't work.
You don't get in any deeper than Hawes was. One minute now, second period, 1 minute.
Good shot by Everett. Needs to post his hands on the mat and spin behind that leg, get a trap leg. Instead, he switches to a double to pick up Hawes on the edge of the mat. They're out of bounds.
Notice how they've been schooled to keep those toes in bounds. You change the rule and you practice for the rule. Everett just dragging the tips of his toes there as they were heading outside the circle.
The new rule, of course, if the toes of the wrestler are in bounds, there's a nice barrel roll takedown by Hawes, and he'll get back points as well. He's got a tight hold. There's the fall. Oh, my, the fall at 2 minutes and 31 seconds for Nazareth, Ken Hawes.
The Blue Eagles go back up on top by an 18-13 score.
Just a well-thrown barrel roll by Ken Hawes as he kept the head and arm. You'll see him hit the barrel roll. Timmy Everett never gets off his back as it's just very technically correct. Ken Hawes will go under the arm. There's the arm, has the leg, actually a fireman's carry here, comes across the chest, and never lets go of that arm. Steps up around the head, now goes with the reverse half Nelson. Boy, that's tight.
145 pounds for Nazareth. Sean McAlone, a senior, 18-7-1, against Steve Yost, the senior, 4-9-1. Northampton's in trouble.
It's over. This one's over. Nazareth can pick up 12 points at will in the last 4 weight classes. They can throw out 2 wrestlers that they can almost guarantee will pick up 12 points. That would put them up by an insurmountable 19-point lead then with the other 3 bouts. This one is over.
Sean McAlone, 145 against Steve Yost. McAlone pinned Yost. 4 minutes and 50 seconds in the duels.
McAlone locking up that spladle. Kern able to get out of it.
Takedown for McAlone. He leads 2-0. Yost gets the escape. Yost trails 2-1.
I was 1 bout ahead of myself in the math, but it still appears that Nazareth has this one locked up, especially with the hammer that they have at the end. With Madsen and Wenrick being able to be matched up against Wampold and Tucker, you have to figure 12 points from the two of them. It's still 31-12. Northampton has to come out of here with a few falls yet, and they certainly have the ability to do that at heavyweight. We know Doster possibly, but it really, Nazareth has put themselves in a definite position to win.
And a critical 1 point, Scott, that they got at 103 pounds.
I don't think that will
well be.
I don't think that'll be the difference in the end score, but it certainly set the tone. It certainly was a 7-point swing, and boy, if it weren't for that, we're looking at what, a tied at 14 or 15 here at this point, instead of Northampton being down. McAlone trying to lock up the Spladle once again.
Final 5 seconds. So far, he does not have the takedown, and he will not get it. Period ends with a 2-1 score. McAlone over Yost.
McAlone, remember, the returning district runner-up last year, met Moss Grays in the final, used that Spladle in the semifinals to deck Chris Lazoyne of Stroudsburg, who was previously undefeated at that point. So he's not forgotten what got him there, as he's thrown a couple of them against Yost.
Blue Eagles were district champs last year. They are trying to repeat and have put themselves in a good position to do just that.
McAlone lost this morning to a very, very tough Steve Calandra. He looked good this morning as he beat McAlone 7-1. In fact, scored 5 points in the final period against McAlone. Sean got frustrated during the period and had a technical violation against him for a late, I guess, push to the face, as it was called by Gene Wass. But Steve Calandra certainly asserting himself as maybe an early favorite at districts.
Mike Connor's Catasauqua team, they were expected to repeat also, but they are out of it. There's an escape.
And a headlock by McAlone, countered nicely by Yost.
And we're tied at 3. Takedown by Yost. 3-3.
That's the easiest counter to a headlock if you can hit it. McAlone hit it hard, and Yost just kept on rolling. Instead of fighting against it, fight with it. Let that weight go right on through. Good momentum. Well done by Steve Yost.
If Yost could come back and win here, Scott, things would tighten up a bit.
I really think Nazareth still has to be very, very confident from where they sit. They're well ahead of where they expected to be.
Escape by McAlone, allowed by Yost. McAlone leads 4-3, 1 minute and 2 seconds to wrestle in the second period. And now the battle of the fans and the cheerleaders.
Got to favor Nazareth in this one, I think. I think they outnumber the Northampton fans, and Northampton fans rather sedate at this point.
Well, we are sitting on the Blue Eagles side, so they may just sound a little louder. Some of our fans who watch all of our sports realize on Thursday we were looking for the birth of Ron Hassler's baby, and I have not heard whether or not Kathy Hassler has gone to the hospital.
McAlone again reaching for that Spladle, reaching. You see across the back, he needs to grab the leg and step across. Instead gives up the takedown.
And now Yost is up by a 5-4 score. McAlone trying to escape to tie things up. He does. We're tied at 5. And that's the way the period will end, with a 5-5 score. And this bout is critical to Northampton. Remember, McAlone pinned Yost in the duel. Northampton's only been able to win 2 bouts so far. Chad Billy with a fall over Dan Tashner at 1:12 and a minute and 15 seconds, and Steve Moyer with a fall over Todd Colino at 1:30, 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yost with good hand control on that stand-up, just had both hands, pried them away, and took the escape. In fact, well ahead of where he was in the dual meet. He managed just 4 escapes in that dual meet and already has 2 takedowns here against Sean McAlone.
Minute and 30 seconds. Yost leads 6-5.
McAlone really looks like he's setting up that Spladle, as he had 3 takedowns in their previous meeting and really only has the one via the Spladle tonight.
Scott, the scoreboard says 19-12. I have 18-13.
It can't be 13. They have 2 falls.
19-12 is correct.
Is 12.
Yeah, it is 12.
He gave a fall to the wrong team there in the last
did.
weight class.
That's exactly what happened. 19-12 is the score.
Nice barrel roll by Yost. Can't count it yet. If he tries to, no, he's off the mat. He tries to plant the feet. Gary, that rule is probably the most misunderstood rule. The rule is called exactly the same as last year. Exactly the same. When you are out of bounds, you are out of bounds. If, however, your feet are inbound and you have control, that's a takedown. Wrestling stops either way. Gene said you are out of bounds according to last year's rule. There's the warning for stalling against McAlone. Gene said according to the rules, you are out of bounds. Now I must determine if you are in control, and you are not. That's the thought process that Gene wants or any official needs to go through at the edge of the mat.
With all of that, Steve Yost remains ahead by a 6-5 score. Out number 8. Final 20 seconds. 6-5 lead by Northampton. Yost is in deep.
All he needs to do is hang on. McAlone needs to get a fresh start. 8 seconds to go. Yost will get the takedown.
He doesn't even need it. He just needs to sit right there. No takedown, but Steve Yost is going to beat Sean McAlone by a 6-5 score. The team score now, Nazareth 19, Northampton 15. We'll be right back.
You'll finish like a winner when you bring your car into one of the 3 fabulous Andretti Hanna Auto Wash locations. Experience the Hanna Magic Wash process. It's made for safety on all car surfaces, new and old. The Andretti Hanna Auto Wash will take care of your car's every need. And remember that our customers are provided with the best full-service car wash available. Check out our daily specials and save. Visit one of the 3 locations at 3310 Airport Road, Allentown, 2209 Lehigh Street, Allentown, or on Route 191 just south of Route 22.
Most people associate the name Scott with Chevrolet. Over the last 8 years, we've sold more Chrysler Plymouths than we do in the Lehigh Valley. Our customer satisfaction index at Chrysler is the highest in the Lehigh Valley. And to those people that are out there that haven't visited Scott Chrysler Plymouth yet, all I can say is it's worth a trip from wherever you are. And with 78 open now, that means from either Easton or Bethlehem, we're only 15 to 20 minutes away. We'll make it worth your trip.
Hi, this is Jolly Joe Timmer, reminding you to watch the Jolly Joe Timmer Show right here on Cable 4, Twin County in the Lehigh Valley, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. That's the Jolly Joe Timmer Show for the best in polka music.
You are viewing Twin County Cable 4, your choice for community programming in the Lehigh Valley.
All right, we are back. things tighten up for the Northampton Concrete Kids. We move to 152 pounds. For Nazareth, Adam Colombo, a sophomore, 4-3 on the year. For Northampton, Ben Kern, the senior, 13-8 on the year.
You have to figure Ben Kern here, but Colombo, one of those guys that does a lot of rolling around, not afraid to go to his own back to make a move work. And he went to his own back this afternoon, and Eric Thompson made him pay, as Eric Thompson recorded the fall in 4:52 in one of the craziest holds. No takedown was awarded when Thompson recorded the fall. It was a non-control fall. I think I said Kern the victim. Colombo was the victim of that. As Thompson shot in, Colombo threw a figure 4 on the head. Thompson sat up. Colombo wrapped his arms around Thompson's waist, and Thompson sat back, and that was it. Colombo's shoulders flat on the mat.
(19-15) team score.
And again, assuming that Nazareth can get 12 points from Dan Madsen and Darren Winrich, they are still plus 16 with 3 bouts left, this being one of those 3 bouts. So you need at least 2 tech falls and a pin to come out tie. So Nazareth really in the driver's seat at this point, even though Sean McElhone not able to come through at 145 pounds.
That was Northampton's first decision of the contest. They had registered 2 falls to that point. Nazareth with 1 major decision, 3 decisions, and a fall.
And we do have a tie-breaking system if the 2 teams should end up tie at the end of this. And stranger things than that have happened.
Warning for stalling against Nazareth.
Called that because he got on 1 hold and just was waiting for the stalemate, and instead of the stalemate, Frank graced him with a stalling call, and certainly there is reason for that.
No points in period number 1. Kern and Colombo. Second period.
Colombo working a cement job of his own as he goes over and under.
Good-sized kid for a sophomore. They remain. There is the escape awarded to Kern.
Kern goes in on a single, switches to a double. Colombo goes again over and under.
Minute and 30, second period. 1-0 lead for Kern.
Come on, Ab! He's hanging on there, Frank!
There's the barrel, the fireman's carry attempted by Kern, as he's liable to get the takedown and back points if Colombo hangs on here. Nothing counted yet. There is
takedown. Kern leads 3-0. Colombo had one of those expressions on his face, like he knew it was just a matter of time, trying to figure out how can I avoid this.
Actually, he was just trying to figure out when to let go of it. No back points there. As soon as the takedown was awarded, he was going to let go of the over and under combination.
3-0. Kern leads Colombo. 35 seconds, second period. Kern still in control.
That's the move Colombo had on today and got pinned in it. So maybe breathing a sigh of relief out there.
Approaching 10 seconds. There's the escape by Colombo. He now trails 3-1.
Nazareth continues to score late in the period. Looks like they're really warmed up for districts, as boy, oh boy, Gary, that should be an amazing matchup. Maybe for the first time in years, going into the finals, we won't know who our district champs will be. And in fact, Easton with as good a shot as anybody at winning the individual district tournament, as we do crown a team champion there as well.
Starting on top is Kern. He leads 3-1.
Escape.
There's the escape. Colombo now trails by 1, 3-2.
This time it's Kern just hanging on to the over-under. Colombo trying to post the leg and spin around.
Stalemate. Another critical match for Northampton if they're going to stay in this.
And in fact, I think they need more than just a decision by Kern. He's got to catch a move here. There's
nice
the
takedown. Kind of saw the inexperience there by Colombo. He gave the leg and Kern took it. Cradle.
Cradle locked up by Kern. He's going to try and start throwing some pinning holds here as he's got him over. Colombo's going to give up some back points here. Not a tight pinning hold just yet, although Colombo's getting perilously close here.
A lot of time, Scott.
Frank Jordan looking down on it instead of in on it, so that's how you know Colombo not terribly close.
3 near fall points. 8-2, 8-3 now.
Colombo going now for the barrel roll. Fireman's carry. Fireman's carry actually is where you take one leg. This is the barrel roll combination where you take both legs. Don't know why they're different, but they just are.
8-3 the score. 27 seconds on the clock. Final 10 seconds. Kern in control on the scoreboard. He's going to win it by an 8-3 score, it appears. There it is. Ben Kern of Northampton beats Andy Colombo of Nazareth by an 8-3 score. And the team score now goes Nazareth 19 and Northampton 18. And again, we'll wait now to see who the Blue Eagles send out.
Actually, we'll wait to see who Northampton sends out. They must send out their wrestler first. If they send out Doster, Nazareth will counter with Mark Madsen.
It is Doster. Now we're a little bit of confusion as to who has to come out first. And now that's what the discussion will be about. Who has to come out?
It's Northampton. First. Nazareth has the odd bouts. This is an even bout. Northampton must send out their wrestler first.
And if it is Doster, we believe we're going to see Wenrich.
I think we'll see Madsen.
All right,
we'll save Wenrich to pick up 6 points. Although
it is going to be, well, they're both there. It's going to be Madsen. Mark Madsen, the sophomore, 10-11-1 on the year against Andy Doster, the senior, 20-5 on the year.
Fans don't understand this move, Gary. It's very simple. Nazareth wants 12. They can give up a win here, even a pin. If they pick up 12 in the next 2 weight classes, it won't matter what happens here.
You got to be a pretty tough fan to question Ray Nonamaker's knowledge.
I know exactly what he's looking for here. He's looking for 12 points, no question about it.
Madsen trails 2-1 after the escape. So Wenrich will move down.
Wenrich will go at 171
against Wambold.
Against Wambold for the pin, according to Ray Nonamaker. Then Dan Madsen will go against Jesse Cucker, also for the pin, according to Ray Nonamaker. With a 1-point lead, you get 12. It's over.
That's what he has, a 1-point lead.
The other way to look at it is throw Darren Wenrich against Andy Doster. Worst case scenario, he gets beat. That's -3. Then Mark Madsen goes against Wombold, and now you have a 2-bout match.
So obviously Ray Nonamaker doing the right thing here. We'll see how it all works out. Right now it is Doster leading Madsen by a 2-1 score, and we got a warning for stalling against Madsen.
Andy Doster, really a well-physiqued young man. Physiqued, is that a word?
No, but we know what you mean. Well-built.
He is cut. He really is. He's got a bodybuilder's top half, boy, and he really uses it.
Take down Doster. He leads 4-1.
And if Doster, let's take the Dan Madsen-Jesse Cucker match as maybe the non-fall. Whatever Andy Doster does here, that's what Dan Madsen must do at 189 for the Eagles to win. Because we assume that Wenrich will pin Wombold. We assume that Grimm will pin Wickman. So we're assuming a lot of assumptions. We're assuming 4 falls in the last 4 weight classes.
And by using we, you're assuming that I go along with everything you say. Wenrich did beat Wombold, pinned him in 59 seconds in the dual meet. Madsen pinned Cucker in 31 seconds. So maybe we can assume that. Final 10 seconds here of the first period.
Hey, Frank, you're looking right at a jump, you jerk. Hey, jump it up.
And there's the horn. 3 near fall points awarded to Doster. Doster leads 7-1.
People get hurt.
If you hear the fans yelling, it's because they're yelling at Frank Jordan. They think that Madsen was being choked on that chin move, and if we do get another look at it, I'm not sure that we will, you'll be able to look at it for yourself. As Madsen is shaken up after that.
Remember, we will be back here in 2 weeks if you're watching on a Saturday, and boy, that looks close to a choke.
It's on the side of the neck. I don't know if it's officially a choke. It could be. It could be. But Frank, I think we have to give the nod to Frank there. He's on top of it by saying could be. I think you got to go with the guy that's looking at it.
I was saying we'll be back here in 2 weeks if you're watching on a Saturday night, and we'll be on with District 11 Class AAA Individual Championships. Always an exciting night. We'll be on live that night at 7:30. And we will be back here if you're watching on a Saturday night on Monday night, as we'll be here. We'll kind of live here next week. 10 basketball games next week, starting Monday through Friday. East Bend Conference Tournament. Madsen gets the escape. He now trails 7-2.
Doster with the quick takedown after that as Madsen tried an over and under and missed that one. Madsen awarded the escape again as he now trails 9-3. So Doster really racking it up here, but again, needs as much as he can get. Whatever he gets, Dan Madsen must get.
Doster beat Madsen 16-6 in the dual meet.
Madsen has already been warned for stalling as Doster hits a nice duck under. Goes to the mat for another takedown. Doster will probably match up in districts against Howie Miller of Parkland. Howie Miller having a great year. As I think he has no losses or just 1 draw or something like that. Howie Miller, one of the real studs. That'll be a great matchup, Doster and Miller.
This has been one of the tougher weight classes of the year.
It's probably the last tough weight class in the whole lineup because 71, 89, and heavyweight have been ridiculously one-sided. One guy could really dominate. I look for Steve Hawk of Lehigh, just a sophomore, I believe, this year at heavyweight, has done a super job, and last year looked good in districts. This year, I expect that he will do much the same. I don't think he got past quarterfinals last year, but look for him at your heavyweight.
Doster now with 5 takedowns, leads by 9. And remember, the tech fall occurs if you're up by 16. Warning for stalling. There's a point awarded to Doster. He now leads 14-4.
A disqualification for stalling would count the same as a fall, though we're still 3 calls away from that. Of course, we're only in the second period, and Mark Madsen still hasn't done anything since the warning for stalling, so he may get another one.
Doster a 5-point move away now from a tech fall. Final 12 seconds, second period. Stalemate is called. 14-4 is the bout score. Nazareth at the moment leads 19-18, but looking at 2 falls in the next 2 weight classes. At least 2 falls that came very quickly in the duels. 14-4 is the way the period ends. Andy Doster over Mark Madsen. Doster will start on the bottom, which gives him an opportunity to get the 1 and then the 2, and would put him within 2 of the tech fall.
Madsen working the cross-face cradle, just like everyone else at Nazareth does. They drill cradles like crazy. They know them all.
Drive into him.
And now Doster will try to turn around, and he faces Madsen, will get the escape. He does. He leads 15-4. Two-point takedown, Doster. 17-4. He needs 2.
He's just a tilt away. We're going to start the injury clock here for Andy Doster. I'm not sure what happened.
Popped like his hip, yeah. And he's in quite a bit of pain. Again, if you're watching Saturday, we'll have the Easton Peaburg bout immediately following this, so you can have a full 4 hours of high school wrestling. I'm sure everybody knows the result, but kind of an amazing result for the Blue Eagles. Let's take a look and see how Andy Doster got hurt.
Keep an eye on that right hip, and it doesn't look like anything's going on right now. Although he is asking for injury time right here. Injury time. You could read his lips. Nothing happened there. Must have happened during the takedown, although we may not even see it if we would replay it again. It's just one of those things. I heard someone said he's supposed to have a bad hip. So who knows? That could be one of those chronic things that pops out all the time, all year long.
That has to be painful. Anytime you use the word pop out.
That looks like it's popped back in as there is nary a limp for Andy Doster. He looks like he can walk that one off, and he'll be ready to go. He is up by 13 points with just 1:11 to go.
And popped in sounds so much nicer. He's going to let Madsen up, it appears.
He needs to do that twice. He needs to let Madsen up, take him down, let him up, take him down for the tech fall. And so let him up here. There's the escape for Madsen, as now Madsen trails by 12. The takedown, he'll trail by 14, should Doster get it here. So there it is.
Takedown number 7 for Doster. He'll let him up again and take him down, and that should end it and get him a tech fall.
If he manages to get that. Mark Madsen has tried the over and under a couple times. You hit that once and it's over. But Andy Doster has shown no signs of being caught in that. There is the escape awarded to Madsen. A takedown by Doster would end it. He's in deep on the double. He goes for the trip. And
there it is. And it comes at 5 minutes and 11 seconds. 5 minutes and 11 seconds for the tech fall for Andy Doster as he wins it 21-6. 5 team points awarded to Northampton. They go up 23-19, but it may not be enough. Nazareth now will send out Darren Wenrich, we believe.
It has to be.
It has to be. Darren Wenrich, the senior, 22-3-0. Comes out against Bill Wombold, the junior, 6-14-0. Wenrich, as we said, pinned Wombold in the duel.
All those assumptions begin right now, as Wenrich must pin Wombold.
As we said, that fall occurred very quickly. Wenrich in 59 seconds pinned Wombold in the dual meet.
Ducks Hunter has the single leg. Looks like he'll try the standing cradle here. He has the leg locked up, has the head hanging there. Possible stalemate to be called.
Yeah.
Takedown called. Takedown called. Darren Wenrich gets the 2. That was a toes in rule. He had both ankles locked up, both toes inbounds. Even though Bill Wombold was almost on the court, the basketball court, there's still a takedown for Darren Wenrich. Wenrich working up high, has the half, had the wrist, let it go. They'll go out of bounds. Darren will get a fresh start. Darren with the fall earlier today, as he pinned Rich Dugan of Easton in 3 minutes and 15 seconds after leading 6-1.
In 10 bouts, Scott, we've had 5 bonus points, which is kind of unusual with teams that are this close in ability. There's the escape by Wombold.
It really is unusual. I think looking back, we'll say that a few wrestlers got caught. Danny Tashner put in a move by Billy, but you might say he got caught in that. He was just stuck. Steve Moyer certainly caught Todd Colino. There's another good takedown by Darren Wenrich.
Wenrich leads 4-1. 30 seconds to go, first period. Wenrich still in control.
Blue Eagles need 11 points in these next 2 bouts. 11 team points to put it out of reach. So Darren Wenrich needs at least the tech fall, and if he only gets that, Madsen needs the physical fall. He's got the half and wrist once again. He's cranking him over.
That could be much time. It has to come quickly.
He won't get it here.
He gets 2 near fall points.
Just 2.
I believe that's all they gave. They did. 6-1.
Wombold is hurt over there. Oh, there was injury time briefly and then none. Wenrich defers his choice. Evidently, Frank Jordan didn't begin counting as soon as we thought he might have. Remember, 5 seconds is what it needs to be a 3-point near fall. This time only a 2-pointer. But Wenrich certainly had Bill Wombold in a place he didn't want to be.
Wenrich stuck under.
Nice single leg by Wenrich as he'll pick it up, go with the trip. That's what he used for his first takedown. They're out of bounds instead.
He got his left foot out of bounds. Tried to quickly sneak it back in, but Frank Jordan saw it, brings them back to the center.
Once it touches out of bounds, that's it. Now the fans yelling at Gene Wass for not overruling Frank Jordan. So both refs having a tough time out there. Darren Wenrich in with the over and under. This is the move he used this morning for the fall. Won't get it here. Instead he rolls through with the headlock. Wombold is in trouble.
Three near fall points.
Takedown near fall, 5-point play for Wenrich. He's up 11-1. Now he cranks a half and wrist again.
There it is.
The fall.
He has him. There it is. It comes at 3:01. 3 minutes and 1 second. Darren Wenrich gets the fall. Blue Eagles back up on top, 25-23. Another look.
Just a half and wrist. It's what he had earlier in the match. You see the half, you see the wrist on this side. He'll just crank him over. Bill Wombold really didn't have a prayer here as all the weight of Darren Wenrich right on his chest. And here we have it. If Dan Madsen picks up a tech fall here over Jesse Cucker, this is all over.
We have had 6 lead changes in this bout. Dan Madsen, a senior, 17-1-1 against Jesse Cucker, a junior, 16-10-0. Madsen with a takedown.
I think if he only gets, he needs a major to assure a tie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that would be 7 wins. A major decision wins it for the Blue Eagles. Matson's going to go for the fall. He cranks that front cradle over. He's a little high on it. He'll get at least a near fall here. Now he's back. Now he's sinking back on it. He's up on his toes. Needs to get chest on chest.
And he's trying to do that.
A good 3 or 4 inches left there. That's the near shoulder. That one's not a problem. Gene Wass looking in at the other shoulder. You can still see daylight right there from our vantage point. You see Dan Matson is not chest on chest, but he's cranking it. Dan Matson tried to pack Jesse Cucker and thrill this packed house. There it is.
It comes at 58 seconds. Dan Matson wraps it up for the Blue Eagles. The fall at 58 seconds. You see a very happy Nazareth Blue Eagle.
I solved my plastic problem, paid off all my credit card bills, put cash into my pocket, with a home equity loan from the money store.
Yeah, but how's the interest rate?
Well, I got a great deal. My interest is tax deductible.
Tax deductible? Deductible?
A low fixed-rate home equity loan from the money store can put cash back in your pocket. Call us now, 1-800-LOAN-YES. The money store, where America goes for money.
Hi, I'm Charles Tan. Please join us on the Mandarin Chef Chinese Cooking Show, Tuesday at 8 p.m., Wednesday at 7:30 on Twin County Cable 4.
You're viewing Twin County Cable 4, your choice for community programming in the Lehigh Valley.
Hello, I'm Pat Huber, and I've been affiliated with Cable 4 since 1979. We produce Sunshine People, Sunny Farms, and Happenings. Occasionally, you heard me share about starting a full-power television station in the Lehigh Valley. Well, that's now a reality. WBPH TV 60 began broadcasting on December 27th. Our family Christian programming format is revolutionary. Tell your friends the good news and watch for us here on Twin County Cable.
Have a seat and strap yourselves in, because RoboCop's back with a vengeance on Viewer's Choice.
Ready for duty, partner?
It's twice the RoboPower.
But things have become a little rougher out there.
And twice the RoboAction.
This is a bust.
So if you think you've seen Robo excitement, you don't know Robo.
Think it over, creep.
And order RoboCop 2 on Viewer's Choice.
Nothing I'd rather do.
For Robo thrills without leaving home, order RoboCop 2 on Viewer's Choice.
Well, the pandemonium is happening right behind us as the Blue Eagles are going to be the District 11 champions, but we've got a bout at heavyweight. Paul Wickman, a senior for Nazareth, 5-4 against Jason Grimm, the sophomore. He is 18-7 on the year, but the Blue Eagle fans know that they have an insurmountable 31-23 lead.
And you have to go back and say, what did Nazareth do to win this? They came in, obviously, as the underdog. You start right at 103 pounds, where Ben Fry wrestled the bout of his life for a major decision over heavily favored Mike Tomzik. Then you need to jump all the way up to 140 pounds, where Ken Haas with the pin over a heavily favored Timmy Everett. Those two bouts, maybe more than any other, were the two that really made the difference. We said when Chad Billy recorded the fall and Steve Moyer recorded the fall for the Concrete Kids, that you don't win a match like this on falls. You win it on upsets. The two upsets were too big for the Concrete Kids to overcome. Now Grimm goes down on the cradle. He has the front cradle locked up. Wickman comes out of it. Wickman giving up weight here. Can weigh in at the 189-pound weight class.
No score.
But when you look at the way Nazareth was able to match up, they pick up 12 bouts, or 12 points in 2 bouts. They knew that coming in, that they could do that. That immediately shortens the match to 9 bouts, because Northampton needs now 2 falls just to even it up, and now it's just a best of 9. There's
Warning
a
stalling against Nazareth. Against Wickman.
So the real hammer at the upper weight for the Nazareth Blue Eagles, as they will remain the only AAA district team champion that District 11 has ever seen.
Northampton will taste defeat for only the 2nd time this year. I believe they lost by 1 point to Shikellamy.
1 or 2. I think it was 31-29, and this one may itself end up being 31-29.
Let's take a look at the Matson fall as the first period ends.
He held Cocker in there for a good long time, and you'll see Gene Wash look up. When Gene looks away, it's all over as he just settles in there. Dan Matson, the all-time leading pinner in Nazareth history. He's packed a lot of guys this year. Out of 18 wins, I think he has 16 falls. You'll see Gene Wash pick his head up, look away, and slap the mat. And you'll watch the Nazareth bench back there erupt as Ray Nunemaker's looking in on it.
While we were away, Jason Grimm got an escape from the bottom. He now leads by a 1-0 score. Shikellamy was a 32-31 score. And the closest bout they had after that, they beat Nazareth by 4. They beat Easton by 2. Caddy by 5.
Caddy, what a rough year they've had. They lost to Nazareth this week by 5. They lost to Northampton by 5, so everyone fully expecting them to dominate the AA team districts. They're being held as you view this on Saturday night, and they're not in it.
The shocker, they lost to Pine Grove by 14.
And as big a shock as that was, is the shock that Wilson beats Tri-Valley.
After forfeiting 3 bouts, they beat them by 4.
In fact, in the 10 bouts wrestled, Wilson won 8 of them, only lost 2 of the bouts that were wrestled. You've got to figure Pine Grove tonight, but then again, you had to figure Tri-Valley this afternoon. So those Wilson Warriors really primed for districts. I fully expect them to be in the top 2 or 3 at districts and the top 2 or 3 at regionals, certainly if not the champions of both.
They have a good tournament team, even though they forfeit 3 weight classes. Their other wrestlers are outstanding. 2-0 now in favor of Grimm as the second stalling warning. Not even a warning. It gave a point to Grimm. Wickman trails by a 2-0 score. But the Blue Eagle fans are just waiting for the clock to run down so they can erupt and celebrate their gold medal.
Blue Eagles with 39 wins in the past 2 years. What a record that has been. Northampton coming in expecting their 22nd of the year. They won't get it. They have won 21 matches. Still a fine, fine season for Don Rohn, John Smith, or John Davis, and all the rest of the coaches, and certainly the wrestlers of Northampton, as they are the undisputed East Penn Conference champions, and will be able to redeem themselves in the individual districts.
No takedown award. Remains 2-0. They'll come back to the center. That's the way the second period will end. Jason Grimm leading Paul Wickman by a 2-0 score. Scott mentioned it all started to look towards Nazareth right after the first bout when Ben Fry got a major decision over Mike Tomzik. And from then on, the script kind of held up until Kenny Hawes' pin of Tim Everett. That sort of locked things up for the Blue Eagles.
Wickman with the escape. He now trails 2-1. I was talking to Ray Nunemaker before the match, and he was busy looking over his lineup. I said, you know, Ray, by the end of 140, you should know where you stand. And we said at 140, it is over, and it certainly was for all intents and purposes at that point. Ray knowing he could pick up 12 points, as we've said many times here today. There's another stalling call.
Another stalling call against Wickman. Another point awarded to Grimm. He leads 3-1.
That position looking like a stalemate. I'm not sure what Frank saw out there, but he decided to call that a stalling call. Maybe Wickman just hanging on to the arm while Grimm was trying to release, and that would indeed be stalling.
Typical of most heavyweight bouts, sometimes when it gets to this point, the bout doesn't mean very much. So the aggressiveness is kind of curtailed.
And, ugly things you don't like to see. Somebody just fired a basketball out of the Northampton side of the gym at the Nazareth team. I don't know if it was intentional or malicious, but it seemed both.
I can guarantee you, if it was the latter, it certainly was the former. It would have been very difficult to be malicious and unintentional.
I think this bout right here kind of typifies Frank Jordan's season. Everything has been on the edge. Everything has been close. Been in front of a big house, and it really doesn't mean much. And Frank's really taking the heat. So
third period, 28 seconds to go, and Frank will be just as happy as everybody else when this one's over.
I saw a couple of Nazareth wrestlers step forward to yell a few things. And they have to be real careful. A bench violation would be a -2 team points.
15 seconds. Warning for stalling against Grimm. His first.
And inevitably, the call from the fans always is, it's about time. There's the headlock by Wickman on the edge of the mat. No takedown.
Takedown not awarded. 4 seconds to go. 5-2. Jason Grimm will win. And the final score will be Nazareth 31, Northampton 26. Northampton ends up winning 6 bouts. Nazareth wins 7. Nazareth with 3 falls and a major. Northampton with 2 falls and a tech fall. And the Nazareth Blue Eagles are your District 11 Class AAA champions. And Scott Barr, the Blue Eagles, came tonight and did everything they had to do to repeat as champion. And in order to do it, they had to beat a team that no one's been able to beat in the Valley all year long.
They really have, and looking at it, they had to come in and say, look, we have to beat someone and we have to pin someone we didn't expect to pin. They did both. At 103, Ben Fry really got things going, and it's hard to say that 103 pounds is the key bout, but it certainly was in this case. Ben Fry, heavy underdog to Mike Tomczyk. Mike Tomczyk had an easy bout this morning, 18-second fall, and here he comes in tonight and loses a major decision. You switch that around, and there's the outcome of the match. If Tomczyk actually does win, you take away 4 from Nazareth, you give 3 to Northampton, scores 29-27. So Ben Fry may be your most valuable wrestler in this match. Then you go down a little further to Ken Hawes, who may be the underdog to Timmy Everett. Certainly didn't look it here tonight, and he comes out with the fall himself. So Nazareth did exactly what it needed to do to win the match.
The one interesting part about team wrestling, of course, is with the team districts now, you very often do get another shot at a team that has beaten you if you're in that top echelon of wrestling teams, as Nazareth is and as Northampton is. And again, when we go to districts in a couple of weeks, you maybe will get one more kind of opportunity to brag.
And that's the thing, and you can't count out Easton. I've said it before, but you look at this, you can win districts with a good team effort. Regionals you win with real studs, real blue chippers. I think you're going to take a look at Nazareth, and they've got 4 or 5 kids that can place at districts. Northampton may have the same amount. Easton may have the same amount. There may be another team out there with the same amount. We don't know who's going to win districts. We may not know until the heavyweight bout at districts is over. That should be a great night.
As always, as we watch the Nazareth Blue Eagles get their gold medal around their necks, as always, our wrestling season has been a great one, as we again have brought you what we consider to be the top dual meets of the year. We maybe have missed one or two, but not too many, and they have certainly lived up to their billing. And today, of course, we create just one more, what most people would consider to be an upset, as Northampton was favored coming in. Take nothing away from Don Roan's team. It's a team that was not highly touted coming into this season, and they certainly went beyond expectations, and yet they will still continue to do just that as they move into district. So the 28-year coach at Nazareth, Ray Nunemaker, does what he did last year. His team repeats as district champions. Don Roan in his 9th year, another spectacular dual meet season for him as they will finish 21-2. Remember, Ray Nunemaker's team has to face Wilson next week, Scott.
That's true. You really can't give Wilson much of a shot against Nazareth, but you wouldn't have given him much of a shot against Tri-Valley. Coming off that win, you really don't know what's going to happen. You got to think Nazareth's going to win, and win big against Wilson. I don't think anyone's taking the Colonial League Championship away from them. Caddy, 20 points better than Wilson. Nazareth, 5 points better than Caddy. And there you have a great shot of the team and the teacher with another set of gold medals for the trophy case.
The Nazareth Blue Eagles are your Class AAA wrestling champions with a 31-26 victory tonight over the Northampton Concrete Kids. For Rick Kehoe, our director, Scott Barr has been our analyst. We thank you very much for watching our broadcast. The crew doing another outstanding job. A reminder, East Bend Conference Basketball Championships coming your way next week, every night starting at 9 o'clock with basketball doubleheaders every night from Monday through Friday. For everybody, I'm Gary Laubach. We'll see you next time right here on Cable 4 Sports.
Tonight's District 11 Team Wrestling Championship will be replayed on Sunday, February 24th at 9 p.m. Now stay tuned for more wrestling action as Easton takes on Peaburg in a replay of last Saturday evening's match. Next on Cable 4.
Of all the places where you can entertain,